All right, the White House is clarifying the president's comments about whether he believes Russia is still trying to interfere with U.S. elections. During a cabinet meeting Wednesday, a reporter asked the president if he believed Russia was still targeting the United States. Well, Mr. Trump appeared to respond with a no. But later in the afternoon, White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders said that wasn't the question the president was responding to. Listen to this.
The president said thank you very much and was saying no to answering questions. The president and his administration are working very hard to make sure that Russia is unable to meddle in our elections, as they have done in the past and as we have stated. The first thing that the president said after the question was asked was thank you very much, and then he said no, I'm not answering any more questions. And even further, I think even Cecilia didn't realize what the answer was because she asked for clarification and he didn't answer the follow-up.
All right, there you have it. Joining me now from Washington is Niall Stanage. He's a White House columnist for The Hill. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Good to be here.
All right, Niall, are those comments by Sanders a response to concerns that the president may be rebuking members of his administration, such as Director of National Intelligence Dan Coats?
Well, I think that they are trying to clean up what is clearly a major political crisis for the White House. I mean, for the president to say that Russia is not targeting the United States would be a big problem. It would further extend this controversy that has been one of the most damaging, I would say, of his whole presidency. So clearly the White House is trying to put a lid on that, trying to get away from it as fast as possible.
On Wednesday, CBS Evening News anchor, my colleague Jeff Glor, asked the president about Russian meddling in the 2016 election, and I want to play some of their exchange.
Say you agree with U.S. intelligence that Russia meddled in the election in 2016.
Yeah, and I've said that before, Jeff. I have said that numerous times before, and I would say that that is true, yeah.
But you haven't condemned Putin specifically. Do you hold him personally responsible?
Well, I would, because he's in charge of the country, just like I consider myself to be responsible for things that happen in this country. So certainly, as the leader of a country, you would have to hold him responsible, yes.
All right, Niall, lawmakers have suggested passing legislation to force the president to impose sanctions against Russia. Has the White House given any indication if they would support that?
It hasn't, and in fact, Sarah Huckabee Sanders was asked precisely that question by my colleague at The Hill, Jordan Fabian, during today's press briefing, and she refused to be drawn on it. She said essentially that the White House would need to look at any such legislation. That legislation is available already. Senator Marco Rubio is the Republican senator most identified with it, but the White House making plain that they do not hold a position on that so far.
All right, a growing number of Republican lawmakers have criticized the president's comments during his press conference with Vladimir Putin in Helsinki. Is the White House growing worried that Republicans may be turning away from supporting the president?
Yes, I think so. I think we're seeing Republican lawmakers, DeMarco, really trying to create some level of separation between themselves and the president on this topic. This isn't like other Trump controversies where what he said has been pretty popular with his base and unpopular with Democrats or liberals. This is something that has, I think, hurt him more or as much with conservatives and Republicans and people who are hawkish on national security as it has with liberal critics. I think that's part of the real heart of the concern for the White House.
So, speaking of concern, is there a concern amongst Republican lawmakers that not distancing themselves from the president's comments could hurt them in upcoming elections?
Yes, it is. They clearly have their eyes on the midterm elections right now. They don't want to cause themselves any damage. They do have quite a fine line to walk, because the president overall remains popular with Republican voters. So if you're a Republican either seeking re-election or trying to beat an incumbent, you want that base as energized and as loyal to you as possible. But then the president says something like the Russia issue, and that causes real problems. So I think that's why we're seeing these Republican lawmakers in a really rather complicated dance right now.
All right, the president might be walking back his comments about Russian election meddling, but he's standing by comments he made about NATO. I want to play some of what he told Fox News' Tucker Carlson during an interview Tuesday night.
Membership in NATO obligates the members to defend any other member that's attacked. So let's say Montenegro, which joined last year, is attacked.
Right.
Why should my son go to Montenegro to defend it from attack? Why is that?
I understand what you're saying. I've asked the same question. You know, Montenegro is a tiny country with very strong people.
Yeah, I'm not against Montenegro or Albania.
No, by the way, they're very strong people. They're very aggressive people. They may get aggressive, and congratulations, you're in World War III. Now, I understand that, but that's the way it was set up.
All right, Niall, just days ago, the president said his NATO meetings was successful. Why the back and forth, and what is his biggest issue with NATO right now?
Well, I think that his issue is twofold. One is that he contends that other nations do not spend as much on defence as they should. The broader picture here is that President Trump, as well as people who've been close to him, like Steve Bannon and others, are sceptical of multilateral organisations, generally speaking. They see that, I think, as diluting American sovereignty, and they see it as America being asked to shoulder too much of the burden. So I think that's where his problems lie. But that answer that you just played about Montenegro exhibits a real lack of understanding of how NATO works. The whole point of NATO is that all nations come to the defence of any nation that is attacked. I might also add the suggestion that Montenegro would start World War III seems rather fanciful.
All right, Niall Stanage in Washington for us. Niall, thank you.
Thank you.